Vivian, obviously you're the CSK fan. Who are
Yeah.
the new CSK players? Because we saw them try out some players. Who are some of the new players that impressed you?
Oh man. Yeah. CSK had an absolute howler of a season. Overall, I would say the players who impressed. I mean, Moin towards the back end, he had like a couple of good innings. But overall, we obviously saw in the last few games, we saw Padiranna, and he bowled fairly, like basically the bowlers that they brought in towards the end were quite good. Padiranna. We even saw Simarjeet Singh, who bowled well in the last few games for CSK, which was really good. He was one of their only consistent bowlers in the game against MI. So we saw that, and we saw Solanki, who played well in the last game against Ara. So yeah, I mean, a few good players towards the end, but overall, all of them were most of them were pretty bad. Most of them didn't perform well. Dhoni performed well at the beginning of the season, but not enough to make it, count.
Yeah, I mean, I myself was I liked what I saw from Jagadish. Obviously, we've seen him before, but what interested me was that they used him in the middle order. I think he's best suited to open, and I mean, he can't open in this team, but
Yeah, he
I
was
think if
he
they,
he's more suited for like what Gaikwad is doing, right? Like that's what
yeah,
he
yeah,
did
but if
initially.
I think they'll try him in the middle order in the future, but I
Hmm.
don't think that'll work. I
Yeah.
still think Raidu is much better than Jagadish. So, Om, what are your thoughts on some of the new people from CSK that we saw?
We're talking about the new people from CSK. It also resonates with a lot of what CSK is built off, right? So CSK is built off this thing where the top three, if they don't score runs, CSK is out. You beat them. We saw that last year. We've seen that before. It's a big reason why they failed in 2020 as well. Robin Uthappa has given them a couple of games, nothing more than that. Same with Rutraj Gaikwad. Devon Conway played a few and showed consistency, but he's not played enough games to give them those starts. So once they have not gotten the starts, their entire plan fails, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at CSK historically, they've not been a side of big name bowlers. By big name bowlers, I mean someone like a Jasprit Bumrah, like a Rashid Khan. When Dhoni used to operate, he used to operate with Harbhajan Chawla, Jadeja, all Moin Ali, all these guys, and he used to rotate them. And it was a captaincy with the bold decision that took them through. And this time with Jadeja as captain, he was just not ready. Um, in search for Jadeja, the captain, we've lost Jadeja, the player. And the same can be said for uh, some players from the other team. We'll come to that later. But just because of of this defect in the CSK lineup, their entire campaign has fallen apart. And I think it started with Jadeja being captain. Last year, a lot of the runs that they got were from Jadeja and the top order. Both of those went away. Deepak Chahar went away. Mukesh Chaudhary has been perfect for them. I think he should play next year. So has Simarjeet. But other than that, they need to revamp the entire squad. Drop Ambati Raidu.
Yeah, and you mentioned this, and I just want to touch on this finally. Dhoni announced that he is coming back as captain. So I think that's probably a good move since they don't have an established captaincy choice in their squad. And the only real ones I can think of that will enter the auction next year are overseas candidates, and I don't see CSK doing that. Vivin, what are your thoughts on Dhoni returning to captain Chennai one more time?
I didn't expect that. I thought the reason he gave Jaddu captain was so that he could sort of phase out his influence. Playing one season to sort of guide the players, but not be the explicit captain, and maybe pass it on completely to Jaddu next year. But maybe because he had to take back captaincy, he decided, let's give it one more year, and maybe that's why he'll take captaincy next year. But I do think it'll be helpful to CSK if Dhoni stays in the team for 1 year without being the captain. So maybe the year after next, if he's up for it, make someone else captain. It can be anyone. Maybe Rutraj will be more experienced. He may have a few India series under his belt in a couple of years. So maybe that will be the man that CSK is sort of grooming for that role.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
I think he's going to take up captaincy next year, drop it halfway, give it to Jadeja, and they're going to give Jadeja another shot. If that doesn't work out, then, well, they have no choice but to look overseas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that happening at all. I think there was a fallout between Jadeja and management. He even left the season early. even when he didn't have to. It was only a minor injury. Um, I see no way that Jadeja is getting captaincy back. I do think MS will captain the full season, but and like, to be fair, I won't even be surprised if Jadeja doesn't come back to CSK next year. I mean, I expect him to come back, but I think there's a possibility he might not, and I won't be surprised. So I mean, when we talk about